Hello all, hope you are doing well. This is another video in sharing model series. Today we are going to discuss about restriction rule. Let's dive into it then. As of now, the sharing mechanism we have explored, whether it's organization by default, role hierarchy, manual sharing, etc., all provided more access to record. As the name implies, a restriction rule prevents user from accessing records they are not authorized to view. What does that mean? Suppose we grant access to a profile for a custom object via sharing rules or other sharing mechanism, allowing user with that profile to see all records. However, if we want to prevent a specific user from accessing certain records, we can achieve this with a restriction rule. Even if record is shared through sharing rule, organization by default, or other sharing mechanism, the restriction rule will limit the user access to those records. Restriction rule is available for custom object, external object, and contract, task, event, timesheet, and timesheet entries. Now, where it will apply, how you will able to understand that sharing rule has been applied. So, if you know that this record has been restricted for a certain user, then you can check, you can global search that record, it will not appear. In the list view, you will not able to see those record. In the lookup as well, related list, report, search, same for SOQL, SOSL and links. But some consideration to keep into mind, that is restriction rule are not applied for code executed in system mode. Whenever we run our code in system mode, restriction rule are not applied on that case. User, if any user having view all or view all data permission, if you created a restriction rule for that particular user where he or she has view all access, then she or he able to view the record regardless of restriction rule. Their restriction rule will not apply it. Another one is that is like regarding restriction rule consideration, that is user cannot clone records that have a lookup to a record that they cannot see due to a restriction rule. So clone will not work properly. Another one is in the user record access, you able to see that that particular user has access in particular records, but still that user is complaining or raising some defects that he or she is not able to view the record. That may be due to restriction rule. So go to the restriction rule for that particular object and check whether any restriction rule is applied for that particular user that restricting him or her to view the records or not. So that is all about theoretical thing, what restriction rule is, where it for which object it is available, where it will applied, and also I have listed down the data types you can able to see in the slide as well. Now let's jump into our demo part. Let's see in action how restriction rule actually works. Okay, so I have already logged in into my Salesforce org. So this is my Salesforce org. Now I have created one new object called restriction rule demo. This is the object name, that object that I have created for this to show how restriction rule work. So once I created that object, I have given the OWD as public read only. So you can able to see that I have provided public read only. I have set public read only as OWD. And one more thing I have done, let me show you that one. That is, I have created a sharing rule as well, where whenever a record has been created by Western sales team, it should be shared with Eastern sales team. Why I have created that one, I will come into that later. But the access level that I have provided is read write. So via OWD, I am providing read only access, and using this restriction rule sharing rule, I am providing read write access. Okay. Now let's check how we can able to create restriction rule. So I need to navigate to this particular object. From where I can navigate, click on Object Manager, and once that Object Manager open, you can search for that particular object, that is restriction rule demo. Click on that one and scroll little bit down. You will able to see on the left hand side, that is restriction rule. You click on that one and you can click on new rule. I have created one restriction rule, but you can create a new one. So if you click on new rule, then a page like this will open where you need to type the rule name, the description if you want to provide, and click on is active, because if you don't click on that one, it will not applicable. Now, for which user you want this particular restriction rule to be applied. So from here you can select either user criteria or permission criteria. Suppose you have provided a group of user to a particular permission set. You assigned a particular permission set to a group of user. In that case, you want whichever user have that permission, I will allow or restrict them to see a particular record, and other records should not be visible for them. So for that one, you can also use permission criteria, and you can use user criteria. So once you select user criteria, you need to click on field. Now from here you can able to check, like for which field, what will be your particular criteria, like which user you want to apply for this particular restriction rule, that you can, based upon criteria, you can select. So you can choose anything, suppose department, then choose, then equals, there will be string or current user, and you need to provide a value here. Once you provided a value, so there is only two type, that is string and current user, there is no other type. So that is one thing you need to keep in mind. And once you set your criteria, user criteria for whom the restriction rule needs to be applied, once you identify that one, then the next step is you need to check which record the specified user are allowed to see. So this is the record field. From here you can select. Here you can also, like, you can select the lookup as well, and you can set the criteria based on that one. So yeah, here you can select, like, based upon which field, which data you are going to share with that particular user, that is mentioned in your user criteria field. Once you decided everything, you can click on save, and it will saved. So I have already created a restriction rule as I suggested. So here what I have given that username equals to something. I want to restrict only one user as of now. I want to keep it simple. And then in the record field, what I have provided, whatever restriction rule demo, if it is created by a system admin, then only share it with Ritvik Roy. Otherwise, don't share it with Ritvik Roy. So if you want to see, so this is my profile and this is my ID. If I copy it and check it, so this is the value that is matching. So the profile is the system admin profile. Okay. So now I have set everything for my restriction rule. Now let's see how it works. So I created two values, two uh, record for this object, particular object. Now one record is created by system admin. Okay. This one has been created by system admin. So if I navigate to this one and let me show you the profile, it's a detail. And this is the profile of SFDC Prayoga. So SFDC Prayoga has created this particular restriction rule that is 02 and 01 is created by some other user. And he is not system admin. Let's see that as well. Okay. So he is having custom platform profile. He is not system admin. Now, one thing to note, he has role Western sales team. If you remember that we created a sharing rule where if a Western sales team created a particular record, it will be shared with Eastern sales team. Now let me navigate to Eastern sales team like user what Ritvik uh, has the profile, and so if I go to Ritvik, he has Eastern sales team. So ideally using sharing rule, he should have, Ritvik should have access to the record that has been created by Andre. Let's check that one, whether he has access or not, or whether our restriction rule is working properly or not. Okay. So I have already logged in with Ritvik. So you can able to see from here that I have already logged in with Ritvik Roy. And this is my restriction rule, all filter. Let me again choose that one. And if you see, I'm only able to see one record. So if I open that, this is created by SFDC Prayoga, the system admin. That is the reason he able to view that one. Now, uh, Ritvik should not have access, means as he belongs to Eastern Cells team, Eastern Cells team, he should not have access using OWD to edit the record. So let's check that one, whether he has edit record or not in this particular thing. So, okay, let me save it. So see, he got an error message. That is expected. Okay. Now let's see. Here we have seen that restriction rule is working properly and Ritvik is not able to access the record. Now let's check another user whether that user is able to access the record that is created by Andre, whether he or she able to access that record or not. Let's check that one. So let me log in with some another user. So Ritvik has Eastern sales profile and let me check Sarah. So Sarah is also having Eastern sales team, Eastern sales team, the role is same. So as we didn't create any restriction rule for Sarah, she should able to see both the record, that is 1 and 2, and the one created by Andre, she should have edit access, and the one that is created by system admin, she should not have edit access. Let's check that one. Let me log in with Sarah. And let me navigate to restriction. Restricted rule demos. Okay. Click on all. She has access. Okay, let me open both the record. Okay, so this is created by Andre and she's able to view that one. So that is she's able to view that one using sharing rule, and this is like she's able to view that one using the one created by system admin. Now let's see whether she is able to make changes on this one or not. Ideally she should not. Let's check that. She click on save and she got the error message that you do not have edit. Now let's check whether our sharing rule is working or not. So let me edit it. Sales team edited by Sarah, and I click on save. Yes, we are able to successfully edit this particular record. Here, as we did not created any restriction rule for Sarah, so she is able to view that record, she is able to edit that record, and everything works fine for her. But as we created a restriction rule for Ritvik, though he has same role as Sarah, and and though he has read-only access using OWD, still Ritvik is not able to view the record created by Andre. So this is how our restriction rule works. I just want to give one I just want to tell one more consideration that we need to keep in mind while creating restriction rule, and then I am going to end this video. That is, if two active rules created for one single object for and both rules apply to a given user, then only one of the active rule is observed. So be very careful when you are creating restriction rule for a user. So that is all about restriction rule. That is how restriction rule works in Salesforce. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the video, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video. Signing off for today.